Welcome to the Equine Vet Connect podcast. I'm your host, Dan Carter. I'm a veterinarian and a farrier. The goal of this podcast is to educate horse people, break things down, bust myths, and keep it real. Speaking of breaking things down, here's my legal disclaimer to keep my attorney and insurance company happy. While I am a vet, I may not be your vet. Contact them before trying anything you hear on this podcast. Remember, just because you watched it on YouTube or heard it on a podcast does not mean you can do it. Please use common sense. Welcome back to the Equine Vet Connect podcast here at Countryside Equine Hospital. We're back in the studio this morning. How are you doing today, Dr. Caitlin?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, got kind of a cool episode today.
Yeah, I'm excited. I get to nerd out a lot.
Of all the organs, I mean, I'm kind of an ortho guy, but if I had to pick one organ, this is the one.
This is the one.
We're going to talk about the kidney.
Woo! And there's two of them.
Yes, and it's kind of the unsung hero of the body, right?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody thinks about the kidney till the kidney doesn't work.
Well, people are like, well, you can just live with one of them. And I'm like, you don't understand. The kidneys are cool.
The kidneys are really cool.
They're cool.
I mean, the liver, okay, yeah, clean stuff up, whatever.
They're like, it has 500 functions. Ooh. Yeah.
No, it does the same thing over and over, just different ways.
Yeah.
And the heart, I mean, it's cool, but it just sits there and pumps.
All day.
I mean, it doesn't do anything else cool.
It just has one function.
The lungs, we're just going to get rid of some. Well, I can nerd out on lungs too, because
I mean, the lungs are kind of cool.
I like acid-based
Kidneys, though? But kidneys do that too.
They do. I'd probably say, I was sitting here actually thinking on the way in this morning, I was like, what process are the kidneys not involved in?
It's hard to think of one.
Yeah.
Blood pressure.
Acid-base balance.
Absorption of things from the gastrointestinal tract.
Hemopoietic function, making red blood cells.
Hormone regulation, like they are.
Oh, yeah, and then, that's all their side hustles.
Yeah, that's not the main.
No,
that's
the main
not
thing
the main gig.
is they're going to filter,
Yeah.
Make urine.
Yeah.
Those are all the side hustles.
Yeah. They're literally interconnected to everything.
Yeah, so this is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, unsung hero of the body.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a nerd, you're going to love this because we're going to dive into kidney function.
When I was an undergrad, hated learning about kidneys. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. Like, what the heck? And then I got to vet school and I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
So cool.
This is actually really cool. I dug into my vet school notes for this one last night. If you ever wondered how OCD and type A I am, it's color coded. So if you can't see that, maybe pull up the YouTube so you can see it because it
is pretty impressive. You literally recreated the kidney.
I did.
On paper.
Yeah. It's love. It's lovely. All right. Well, anyway.
Yeah. And the other thing about kidneys too is good and bad. They don't complain until they're like
dead.
I mean, they are literally workaholics.
They're just little worker bees and they're just going for it.
It's so cool.
They are cool.
So let's talk a little bit about, we kind of talked about, we talked about his main hustle, making urine, and then we talked about all the side hustles. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about the kidney. We always got to start with anatomy, right? If you don't know what it looks like and you don't know, how it's built.
Yep.
Let's talk about anatomy, and then let's get into some physiology on how this works and what the kidney means to you.
Yeah. So kidneys there's two of them. There's a left one and a right one. The left one is, it's big and it's normal kidney shaped. It's shaped like a kidney bean. Mm-hmm. And then the right one in horses is shaped more like a heart.
Yes. And
it's further forward. So when we're rectaling your horse, sometimes we can get to the left kidney. Very rarely can we ever reach the right kidney because it's just too far up there.
When you got little T-Rex stumpy arms.
You probably haven't felt a kidney in a hot minute.
It's rare I get to feel a kidney. You're like, I feel the kidney. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, no.
That's okay.
Not going to happen.
But they live in, this is technical. They're in the abdomen, but they're technically not in the abdominal cavity. They're like behind the little lining that makes the abdomen. Anyway, they're still in the bulk of the horse.
Outside the peritoneum.
Yes, they're retroperitoneal. That is correct.
Yes.
But they live kind of up at the top, and like I said, left's a little bit further back, right's a little further forward, but they kind of live right under that like lumbar spine area. And yeah, they just hang out up there, and they're just suspended, and they just live up there
and control the universe.
Yeah,
I think that's why they're on top. They control the universe.
I mean, that's fair.
So, yeah, and they're made up of, you know, when we kind of dive into like what is inside the kidney, and we got two main things we'll talk about today, and that's the cortex and the medulla. And the cortex is that outer layer of the kidney. If you look at it on a microscope, it's very clear. Like, this is the cortex. And then you have the medullary portion of the medulla, and that's where the really cool stuff happens. So,
and the cool thing is like sometimes if you get a really good ultrasound image, you can distinguish the cortex and the medulla on your ultrasound as well. And that's due to A, the different types of tissue that they are, but B, and this comes into play later, but there's a huge difference in the level of solutes or the osmotic gradient between those two. And so it makes your tissue look very different. Yeah.
And then right in the middle, you have the beautiful renal pelvis.
The renal pelvis, where all the pee collects in the bottom before it goes into the ureters and then out to the bladder. But the kidney it's cool. It's funky.
So when you're going to talk about kidneys, you've got to talk about the lowly nephron.
It's not lowly, Dan.
Well, everybody always says, oh, it's just nephron. It's like, it's not just a nephron.
The kidney's not a kidney without a nephron.
I know, the nephron is a genius.
Yeah. So the nephron is it's the functional unit of the kidney, and there's millions of them in each kidney. The crappy part is that you're born with as many nephrons as you will ever have.
They do not regenerate.
They do not regenerate. You do not grow more. When they're done, they're done. And as you age, they kind of start to peter out a little bit, and you lose your nephrons as you get older. But yeah, this is the only time that the liver trumps the kidney, because the liver can regenerate, the kidney cannot. So
that is true. That is the only superpower the liver has.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it is. So it's a functional unit of the kidney. Basically, what happens is blood flow comes in, and when you have an artery that then becomes a vein in the middle of that, because all these things are connected, right? It becomes a capillary, which is like teeny, teeny, tiny little blood vessels. And then in the kidney, in the nephron, or next to the nephron, the blood flow comes in, it becomes this teeny tiny little capillary bed that's all like mangled together like a big tangled ball of yarn. That's your glomerulus. And then the blood flow leaves. But then around that, then you have the nephron. So it's a whole, I feel like this is going to be so confusing.
You know, I don't think so, because if you think about, like, when we talk about the blood flow comes in, we got a filter, right?
Yeah.
So what I always think about is if you ever been to a swimming pool, you've got water coming into your filter, and you got water going out of your filter. So the water coming in, that's your artery. Yeah. And you have this capillary bed, and that's like it's like the pipes within the filter. And then the water flows out of the filter. Yeah. And that's your vein leaving.
That's true.
And so your filter is basically like your glomerulus. Yeah. And that's what a glomerulus does. It's a filter. Yeah. It just filters everything. Yeah. And it's a pretty awesome filter.
It's really cool.
I mean, it can filter it's his job or something.
Because it's so simple, the structure of it. It's 3 layers. But the reason that it filters is because there's a very tightly controlled size of the holes in the filter. It's a negatively charged filter. And that's it.
I mean, it makes the M95 mask seem like a joke, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just 3 layers of cells, negatively charged, and that's it.
Yeah, and it says, I'll just clean everything.
Everything.
Dump toxins, electrolytes.
Keep proteins where they're supposed to be.
Keep the proteins in, unless it goes south.
Well,
we're not getting into that. So, yeah, it filters everything out.
Yeah.
And then, once it filters everything out,
something's got to collect it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we got to decide what we need to keep and what we need to get rid of.
And that's the job of the nephron.
Yes. Yeah. And that's the cool part.
Yeah.
So glomerulus filters everything. And then our nephron's like, whoa, hold up. I need some of that back.
So you start with, there's this little like hand around the glomerulus, and that's called Bowman's capsule. So that is what collects all of the filtered stuff that comes out of the glomerulus.
Mm-hmm.
And then their first part of the nephron is called a proximal convoluted tubule.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes down into the medulla, and that's the thin descending loop of Henle. And then it curves back up, and that's the ascending loop. And then it goes, now it's back up in your cortex. And then it turns over again and goes back down into medulla. So then you've got your distal convoluted tubule, then your cortical collecting duct, and then you're down in medulla, and that's your medullary collecting duct.
You know, I often think about this. Very few things in veterinary medicine are named after someone. But the loop of Henle,
Yeah.
it stayed there. So
It
whoever
stayed.
Henle is, you're important.
Mm-hmm.
They kept your name on this.
Every textbook ever written,
Yes, has the loop of Henle.
it does.
You couldn't get rid of it.
You couldn't.
So we're going to filter everything out. Glomerulus is going to dump everything that it thinks it doesn't need to be there. Well, it just filters everything out. That's your sodiums, your potassiums, your calciums, ureas, glucose.
You said calcium already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really, all your electrolytes, magnesium. If it's an electrolyte, the glomerulus is going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Gone.
What it doesn't or shouldn't get rid of is cells and proteins.
Correct.
Those are supposed to stay in the blood.
Right. There's protein floating around in the blood called albumin. It's supposed to stay there. So it's like, you know what, you're supposed to be there. I'm not taking you out. But all these electrolytes, we're going to pull all of you out.
Yeah. So then as that filtrate goes through the loop of Henle and then down into the collecting ducts, the kidney basically keeps what it wants and gets rid of what it doesn't want, and it all is self-regulated. It's all interconnected with the rest of the body to tell the kidney what we need. Are we hydrated? Are we dehydrated? Do we need more sodium? Do we need more potassium? Is our calcium low? Do we need more of that? Like, it's insane.
Yeah, because if the body's like, we're running low on sodium, the glomerulus filtered all that out. It gets into that nephron, and it goes, wait a minute, we need more sodium. So we kick off transporters that pull sodium out of the filtrate and put it back in the blood system.
Yeah, there's little cells called the macula densa cells, and they see how much sodium's in there, and then they talk to this thing called the juxtaglomerular apparatus, and then they make channels and things open, and now bada bing, bada boom, you got more sodium.
Yeah.
And water follows sodium, so then now you have more water.
But then if you get further down, it can say like, hey, we need to get rid of this water again.
Yeah.
And so it'll get rid of it again.
Yeah. So at every section in the nephron, there's different pumps, there's different channels. Some places water's allowed to leave, some places water's not allowed to leave. Some places certain hormones work on that section, but not on another section. Like, it's insane.
Right.
And that's why it was so frustrating to learn it, because I'm like, I have to memorize all this for a dang test. But now I'm like, man.
Well, it's so cool because, like, when your vet's looking at your horse, and let's say we run blood work on it, and we're looking at the electrolytes in there, and we see signs that we may have kidney damage. Based on the electrolyte profile, we can have a somewhat idea of what part of the kidney isn't working.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So not just like, oh, we got a kidney problem. We got a problem with the ascending loop, the descending loop. It is really cool.
It is cool. Yeah. It's it's insane. There's some of it's very passive that works on the osmotic gradient like we talked about, and then some of it is active. It requires energy and ATP to open those pumps and channels and pump things out. But yeah, the kidney decides what it needs, and it makes that filtrate exactly what it wants to be, and then you just get rid of the rest in the urine.
You know, and a good thing to talk about here is a very common thing is feeding electrolytes to horses. And we often say this, that if your horse is dehydrated and you give them electrolytes, you can actually dehydrate them faster. And this is I always say use a comparison. If you're stranded at sea, they tell you don't drink salt water because you'll dehydrate faster. Because the kidney's like, I have to get rid of the sodium. And yes, it can pull some of that water back out, but not all of it. Some of that water has to follow that sodium.
Yeah.
So if your horse is dehydrated, because of the kidney, this is why giving electrolytes to a dehydrated horse if they're not actively rehydrating, will not help and actually will make the problem worse faster.
Yeah.
And this other cool thing about it is if you have a normally hydrated horse, the kidney's so cool because if you do give too much of an electrolyte, the kidney's like, I got it.
I'll get rid of it.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. Like when you look at the composition of horses' urine, horses have a very high calcium diet for the most part. And they just get rid of all of this calcium in their urine, which makes it, they have a ton of calcium carbonate crystals. Horse urine is it's thick, it's kind of cloudy. That's all the calcium that's leaving. They also have a lot of mucus in their urine, which is normal. It's a protective mechanism for the kidney. But, yeah, I mean, it just dumps it.
Then it gets rid of anything it doesn't need, it's gone.
Yeah.
And then keeps anything it does.
Yeah.
Eat.
And it all talks to itself. It's all interconnected. It has its own negative feedback mechanisms and protective mechanisms. And the kidney's like, it's just.
I kind of put it up there. It's like the brain of the function of the body. Like the brain gives you the ability to think and move. But the kidney is the part of the body that makes all that possible.
Well, because the kidney's job really, at the end of the day, like overarching job is to maintain homeostasis in the body.
Yes, regulate happiness.
Yeah, because all of your cells, which become tissues, become organs, they have to have a constant environment in which they can work in. They're very spoiled little things. They don't like to work in suboptimal conditions. So the kidney's job is to keep those conditions optimal and keep them consistent so that the rest of the body can function normally. Like that's the kidney's job.
It supports everything.
Literally everything.
It makes sure we have the right electrolyte balance because if sodium and potassium gradients are off, this is a huge issue.
Yeah.
Like the example there I talk about is HYPP. Potassium gets too high in the bloodstream, and it doesn't have to be that high. But if it gets too high, things go haywire.
Just small amounts of potassium can kill somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the kidney's over there doing its job to make sure that doesn't happen all day, every day, never stops.
Yeah.
It just does it.
Yeah. Because your blood doesn't just stay in your bloodstream. Your blood becomes your extracellular fluid, which becomes your intracellular fluid. So everything the kidney touches then touches the rest of the body and keeps it functioning.
And through hormonal control, it's talking to the other organs throughout the body.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was like deep diving in, and I was like, man, I forgot about this. This is crazy.
I know. I always say most organs in the body, I always say they're kind of union, right? I do my job, man.
Yeah.
I do my job.
Yeah. No, the kidneys does everybody's job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if the pancreas sees a bunch of glucose, it just keeps making insulin.
Yeah.
It doesn't go like, well, the body's not using this insulin, so why am I making more?
Yeah. It just does it.
It just says, I see a lot of glucose. I'll just keep making insulin. The kidneys over there going like, hold up, boss.
The atria are stretching too far, so there's too much blood volume. So we got to activate the receptors and tell the kidney, hey, man, get rid of some fluid. The kidney gets rid of some fluid.
Yeah.
Your muscles and your vessels stretch too far. Same thing.
Get rid of some fluid.
Get rid of some fluid.
Hey, we're running low on sodium. Okay, I'll give you some more back.
Yeah. Crazy.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
And kind of diving a little bit into that, when you talk about how important the kidney is, if you want to know how important something is, look at the blood vessel going to it. Because if it's important, there's a big blood vessel going to it. So if you think about the brain, obviously is pretty important to life. There is 2 carotid arteries, very large vessels.
Yeah.
That go to it.
Yeah.
The kidney, 20 to 25% of the blood flow goes to the kidney.
Yeah. 20 to 25% of your total cardiac output goes to your kidneys.
A quarter of the output from the heart goes to the kidney.
Yeah. And if
It's
you think,
important.
like, and your total blood volume is 7% of your body weight. So you think about how much a horse weighs, 7% of that, and then a quarter of that is going. It's crazy.
So what would that be, like 1,000-pound horse, 7%? We're looking at 70
to 80.
70 pounds of blood.
Yeah.
That's a lot of blood
It's crazy.
going to the kidneys.
Yeah. So they're important.
All the time.
All the time. And then your glomerulus is filtering 20% of that 20%. So you get about 4% of your blood is filtered and in the kidneys at any point in time. So crazy.
It's important, is what we're trying to say.
There's a lot of fluid going through there all the time.
These are major vessels. These things are big.
Yeah.
And they work constantly.
All the time.
So let's dive a little bit into tubular function. All right. And y'all got excuses. If you're not a nerd, this is not your podcast.
It's so fun.
But so after the glomerulus has filtered everything, Bowman capsule, it scooped it up, and it's like the funnel, right?
Yeah.
Filters everything in. Bowman's capsule's hanging out there. It's like a funnel. It says, let's dump it into the renal tubules. The first thing we're going to get to is the proximal tubule.
Yep.
So let's talk about the proximal tubule.
So the proximal tubule it reabsorbs sodium, it reabsorbs water, it can reabsorb glucose, amino acids, and bicarbonate, which is very important.
I'm an acid-base guy.
Yeah,
I love acid-base balance.
Bicarb is the meat and potatoes of that guy.
Yes.
And then the proximal tubule can also secrete. It can secrete hydrogen ions, and then that hydrogen makes pumps work and things happen. And so you can secrete waste products, you can secrete drugs, you can secrete a lot of things out of that proximal tubule. And so, it gets rid of stuff, but it also absorbs, like I said, a lot of those smaller molecules up there.
Yes, that proximal tubule gets a signal, and it says, hey, we're low on sodium. Get us some more. Sodium's like, cool, I'll go back.
Yeah.
And then because the sodium went in, water follows it. And like I said, it filters out glucose. But the body's like, hey, we kind of need some glucose. It jumps back in there too.
Yeah.
And like I said, the amino acids, those are, yes, they're part of proteins, but they're not actual protein molecules.
They're little bitties.
Little bitty tiny things.
Yeah.
And then bicarbonate's by far my favorite. If you have an athlete, you need to understand about bicarbonate. We'll have to talk acid-base balance one day.
Oh my gosh.
Because what I always say is, the lungs are not there for oxygenation, they're for acid-base balance. They're acid-base balancers. Because CO2 is what drives respiratory function. Acid-base balance is what determines how fast and how heavy you breathe.
The only tattoo Dan Carter would ever get.
Oh, the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. I have told everyone here that if you would get the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation tattooed, I'll pay for it. No one's taking me up on that.
Oh.
But if you work here, like you want to get that tattooed, I will happily pay for it because it's so cool. I absolutely love it. It's like math and science all rolled into one.
All rolled into one.
And it's how we live.
It is.
And the kidney does
day.
its job on this. Because if you wonder why you're huffing and puffing, it's because...
Acid base.
Yes. You've become acidotic and you're having to get rid of CO2. I love it.
Oh, man.
Sorry, I get really excited on acid base.
It's true, though. I mean, it is. It's just,
Yeah. And that all happens in the proximal tubule.
Yep. That's just one section.
Yeah, we just started down this route.
Yeah. We still have like a whole lot more to go.
So after we leave the proximal tubule, let's
dive down.
Yep, we're going to dive way down into the kidney.
We get into our very famous loop of Henle here.
Yes, go Henle.
So you've got 3 parts. You've got the descending loop, the ascending loop. 3 parts. You've got the thin descending, the thin ascending, and then the thick ascending. So it's just... Anyway.
It's a lot going on in the little B segment.
Yeah, there is. So your descending limb, water is allowed to move freely about the cabin.
It can go in or out. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, which is important because now we're in the medulla, right? And the medulla has more of an osmotic gradient. So water is going to go to wherever there's more solutes or a higher osmolarity.
And when we're talking about like osmotic gradients, what I want you to think about is like if you have like the simple way to understand this is if you put salt on the outside of something, it draws moisture out of it because it's everything in the world wants to be in equilibrium. The yins and the yangs, it wants to be in equilibrium. So if you were to put like salt on the outside of your steak, it's going to pull water out of it. This is how we cure things because we're drawing water out. Why? Because it's trying to become equilibrium. We have an equal concentration of salt in both sides. Yeah. And the water's what moves to do that.
Yeah. And so you can think of the medulla having a lot of salt, essentially. So it can pull water out.
Right.
But only in that first part of the
Yes.
loop of Henle, because in the second part of the loop of Henle, the water is not allowed to leave.
No, but the solutes or the electrolytes, things like that are.
Yes. Yes.
So the first one, water gets to do whatever it wants.
It can move freely about the cabin.
And guess what? Solutes do not get to do that.
No.
But
So-
then the second part,
Then they're allowed.
yeah, ascending loop, it gets to, water has to stay put, and it's a solutes term to move freely.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, so if you look at, there's different nephrons. There's some nephrons that are kind of up towards the top of the medulla, and there's some nephrons that are kind of towards the bottom of the medulla. Horses, well, desert species have ones that are more in the bottom of the medulla, so they can concentrate a lot of urine. Horses don't have a lot of those.
No.
So they have limited concentrating ability, and they also have shorter loops of Henle, so they
Camels, long ones, horses, short ones. Yes.
yeah. We're just nerds. It's fine.
It's okay, you know, as long as you know it.
And then, so you get through
Yeah.
your loop of Henle. We're going back up. So we're in the ascending loop now. We're going back up towards the top of the kidney, back towards the cortex. The water has to stay where it is, but the solutes are we're like fine tuning what we want in the filtrate at this point. Then you get to your distal tubule. And that is really where the electrolytes are getting, like I said, fine tuned.
We're dialing it in.
We're dialing it in. And this is also where calcium comes into play a lot, because your kidneys will make something called, they'll cause the release of something called parathyroid hormone. And parathyroid hormone does a couple things. It causes release of calcium from the bones when you don't have enough calcium. It causes activation of vitamin D, which then helps absorb calcium from your food in your GI tract. And then it also tells the kidney, hey, we need more calcium. You gotta pull it back in.
Yep.
Yeah, so parathyroid hormone works on this section, this distal convoluted tubule. It also works on part of the ascending loop, but a little bit, so.
Yeah, we'll focus on this.
Yeah.
So this is the first time it gets to go out there and start talking to another organ. It's over there communicating. It's like picked up the radio.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, in today's day and age, it is send a text message up to the parathyroid, and they're texting back and forth.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, hey, I need a little more calcium.
Yeah.
And the kidney's like, got it.
Yeah, I can
On
do
it.
that.
And calcium's really, really important. You know, when we talk about calcium, that's one of the electrolytes that makes muscle work. You run out of calcium, your muscle doesn't work. So if you want to move, you have to have calcium.
Yeah.
So kidneys, make sure you can move. Not just in acid base, but in calcium metabolism as well.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just your skeletal muscle, like your cardiac muscle, your
Smooth muscle.
in your GI tract, like that all requires calcium.
Yep.
Every time we have a horse that comes in that's colicky, that needs their GI tract's really sluggish, and we give them calcium.
And it starts working again.
It starts working again.
Yeah. And most time calcium's low on the blood work when we run it. And we're like, all right, parathyroid, you're doing all you can, but we're going to help you. We got this bottle of Galnate over here.
Get you some.
We'll just help you out. And the beautiful thing is, if we put too much in there, the kidney's like,
Get rid of
don't
it.
worry about it. I got this.
Yeah. You can't really screw it up.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry. Kind of saves our butt a lot, too, come to think
you know
of
what?
it.
The kidneys are great. They're great.
Yeah.
We have to be kind to them.
Yes.
So then after your tubules are done, then you start into your collecting duct. And your collecting duct is like your final regulator of the concentration of your urine. So this is also where we have something called ADH that comes into play. ADH is antidiuretic hormone. So it basically controls the water reabsorption in the last part of your nephron. And caffeine it increases it's an ADH inhibitor. Yes, so it makes your urine dilute.
Yes.
So does alcohol.
Yes, that's why I always say this is why you have to pee a lot if you're drinking.
You break the seal, and then you got to
You're
keep
done.
going because your
Yep.
ADH is like tanked.
Yep, it is tanked, and it's like I can't hold on to water if I wanted to, which is why you also have to make sure you hydrate really well if you were to consume more than the recommended 1 to 2 drinks of alcohol a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun
I'm
facts.
over 40. Those days don't happen anymore.
But yeah, so your collecting ducts, it's all about water reabsorption. This is acid base, like fine tuning. Like this is where the rubber meets the road, and the kidney's really like, all right, we got to hammer this out and get it fine tuned, because once it leaves that collecting duct and it gets into the renal pelvis,
We're done.
We're done.
Nothing else we can do.
yeah,
We're out.
yeah,
Yeah, and ADH is such a cool hormone. Can vary a lot. But that's the last opportunity we have.
yeah,
Because after that, we have made urine. The final product has been created.
yeah,
And that's going to flow into our renal pelvis,
yeah,
into our ureters, into our bladder,
yeah,
and end up on the grass or in the stall you have to clean.
yeah. But that's a nephron.
Yes, it's kind of like the journey of urine when you think about it.
Yeah.
I remember I used to think when I do this, I always remembered that, what was that, the magic school bus where they shrink down
Yeah.
and go through the body?
Yeah.
I was always like,
Miss Frizzle.
yes. I was like, why didn't they go through the kidney?
Did they not?
I don't remember them ever going through the kidney.
Probably because it's too complicated.
I know, but could you imagine if they like jumped out of the vessel and said, hey, let's run through this glomerulus?
Well, they'd probably get like whiplash from being like in and out of the tubule. So
That's true.
So
Well, and they're also big, so they probably like a protein wouldn't get filtered.
that's fair.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's really, really cool. If you're a nerd, learn about the kidney even more.
It's cool.
We hit a high level. Like when we're making urine here, like it's basically, if you think about it, we just gave you the recipe for urine.
Yeah.
But if you really want to do a deep dive into the recipe of urine, there's some cool videos out there. So
Yeah. But like we kind of touched on, I mean, making the urine is the bulk of the kidney's job, right?
Yeah.
But it also controls lots of other things.
yes.
Yeah. So there's this really cool thing called RAS. It's the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system.
Yes.
So basically, this is how the kidney helps control your blood pressure. So if your blood pressure drops, the kidney releases this thing called renin.
We got to go all the way back and talk about where we monitoring that blood pressure at.
Well, everywhere.
We have it just mainly up there in the aorta.
In the aortas, yeah. You have receptors in your large vessels, in the muscles in your large vessels.
Little barioreceptors.
Yeah, pressure receptors. And then you have stretch receptors. And then you have, there's lots of receptors everywhere. And when those get activated, it tells the kidney, or when they're not activated, like your blood pressure drops and all of these things are low, it tells the kidney, and then the kidney says, hey, I can help you with that.
Yes. But don't forget about the trip to the lungs.
Well, I was getting there.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
Look, I have a whole.
Okay, I was just getting all excited because, you think about
It's crazy.
There's receptors in the vessels that say blood pressure is too high or too low. And, go. All right, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. Go ahead.
The kidney says, I'm going to release some renin. That gets converted into that causes release of angiotensin, or angiotensinogen, sorry. That gets converted from angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2
Yes.
in the lungs. By this thing called ACE.
Yes. Not the medication we give.
No, not ACE promazine. Different
Right.
ACE. In the lungs, of all places. Why? I don't know.
Seems like a great place to do it.
I don't know.
There's also a bunch of little vessels in the lungs too, so
that's
I could see that being involved, and a lot of blood flow goes there.
Yeah.
Basically, all of it.
So, the angiotensin 1 gets converted to angiotensin 2 in the lungs, and angiotensin 2 then says, "Hey, we need to vasoconstrict to increase our pressure."
Yep.
And then we also need to tell the kidneys. So the kidney started this whole thing.
Right.
And then they kick off this cascade that comes back to the kidneys and tells the kidneys, hey, we've got to retain more sodium to then retain more water to help increase our blood volume to fix our blood pressure.
Wild. And the exact opposite happens if our blood pressure's high.
Yeah.
So this is why if you're on some of the heart medications, you may be on an ACE inhibitor. And the purpose of that ACE inhibitor is to inhibit that conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2.
Yep.
And then now you're not resorbing sodium, you're not resorbing water.
Yeah.
You're urinating it out. And what drug is that? That's most commonly used.
Oh.
Lasix.
Oh, yeah, Lasix.
So this is why if we've got these horses with EIPH,
Yeah.
we're using Lasix because we're going to inhibit ACE
In the lungs.
in the lungs so that we can then dehydrate. It's cool.
And they pee all the time.
Yes, all the time.
Yeah. Because the angiotensin will cause an increase in aldosterone. And aldosterone increases the sodium and water in the kidneys. That's how so it does it directly and indirectly. But yeah, so that's where your aldosterone comes in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which then also messes with your calcium.
Yeah.
So that's why some of these horses are on Lasix. You have to supplement calcium to them, is because they're losing calcium they need for muscle function.
Yeah. Wild.
I know. It's like it all works.
The other thing it does is if you don't have enough red blood cells.
Let's get into that in number 2.
You want to get it out of number 2?
Yeah, because we'll get in because when we start getting hemopoietic or making red blood cells and acid-base balance, because we want to dive into that too. That'll be kidney round 2.
Okay.
So let's
That's
talk
fair.
about what this urine should look like.
Okay.
Because now we've given you the recipe.
Yeah.
But, if I give you the recipe of the cake, I got to show you what the cake looks like. So let's talk a little bit about now that we've given you the recipe for urine, and we've given you kind of like one of the cooking processes with the Rengian angiotensin system, let's talk about what it should be. What is normal urine?
Normal urine is, horses make a lot of it. And like I said, it's got a lot of mucus in it. It can be very thick. It's got kind of like a bubbly, frothy component to it. And it should be quite yellow. You want it to be fairly strong and fairly concentrated, because that means your horse is holding their water in. But you don't want it to be too concentrated, because then they might be dehydrated. So you got to kind of walk the line there. But it's got a lot of calcium in it. And it's, it's alkaline.
The biggest thing I always say is, like, if you're trying to figure out hydration status, you can get a little bit off. I'm not saying this is a perfect system. I call this like the windshield test. You've got no instrumentation. But how yellow is it?
Yeah.
Because that tells you how concentrated it is. The more concentrated the urine, the more dehydrated you are, because the body's trying to hold on to that water.
Yeah.
That's why we've got these horses on high rates of fluids. Their urine is just dang near clear.
Yeah.
It almost looks like the fluid's going into them.
Yeah.
Because they got plenty. They're not concentrating. They're not trying to control, or they're not trying to save any fluid. Like, hey, we got plenty.
Yeah. And you, like I said, you want it to be that lighter yellow kind of color, but it's still going to be thick because of all that calcium and that mucus.
And this is also why you make less of it if you're sweating pretty heavily. So horses in a lot of work will have less urine output because you're losing water and electrolytes in that sweat.
Yeah, horses' sweat is very electrolyte heavy.
Very.
Yeah, that's why they get that like salty film.
You can see it on them. Like, if you get a hard workout, you're looking at that white stuff covering your horse. That's all the salt that came out in their sweat.
Yeah.
And the kidneys are the ones that have got to say, hey,
We got to fix that.
I'm losing all this salt and water and sweat. I need to keep more of this inside. So they don't pee as much. And then what urine they do have is a lot more concentrated, so it's a lot more darker and yellow.
Yeah.
So cool.
It all works together.
Yes.
They do, like I said, they do excrete a lot of that calcium via the urine. So in a lot of species, like calcium carbonate crystals and calcium oxalate crystals are a problem. They're very normal in horses.
Very.
Yeah.
This is why, a lot of times horses will, inside the clinic here we have black floors. And a lot of times horses will urinate, and then like you'll squeegee the urine off, and you'll see like a salt covering, or people look at it and it looks like things are floating in there, and we're like, well, yeah, that's the calcium carbonate crystals.
Yeah.
That's
Normal. Yeah.
And then that's also why sometimes we can get a sand buildup or a stravulous bladder in horses. Like, they can make so much of this, and if they're not voiding their bladder normally, they'll actually get a buildup of the sludge inside the bladder, and we call it sand.
Sludge.
But it's just, I mean, it's sludge.
Yeah.
And you got to go. Sometimes you got to go in there and flush all that out.
Mm-hmm.
But not too often, thankfully. But
No.
Yeah.
Well, I do. Seems like.
you do get a fair number of these.
No.
So, when we first started doing this, I was thinking we'd have like kidney part 1 and kidney part 2. I think we're going to end up in kidney part 3 because we haven't even talked about what happens when all this goes wrong.
Wrong. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just getting through all we did today is give the recipe for urine.
This is a kidney.
Here's a kidney. Here's how it works.
Yeah.
Here's how we make urine.
Yeah. 3 days of kidneys. That's crazy.
And what you think about it, kidneys was I'm trying to think. I want to say renal function was...
That was a couple weeks of...
Several weeks. I was thinking 4 to 6 weeks on renal function.
Like I said, when I pulled out my vet school notes last night, Tyler was like, how long are you going to have to read? And I said, do you see this stack? Yeah. And he said, oh. And I said, that's renal physiology. And he said, oh, no.
Yeah. That's why nephrology is a specialty. Because there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on for that little baby nephron.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think that's kind of a good place to end it because trying to get into another topic is going to be quite difficult.
Yeah, we can't dive into the doom and gloom.
So, bottom line, if I was going to summarize, don't forget about your kidneys.
Yeah, drink water. I need to be better about that.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's a good ingredient. I like it as an ingredient.
Water is the most important nutrient.
It is.
People forget that.
Yes.
They think everything else, the carbs and the proteins, it's not. Water is number one. 70% of your body is water.
Yes, and the kidneys make it happen. Because we're going to learn, we'll dive into that later, but when we're going to learn about what happens when the kidney breaks. And you're going to find out why your body being 70% of water and the one thing that controls that, this is a bad day.
It's a bad day.
It's a bad day.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah. Well, give me your summary. If you had the three takeaways of if people are I'm going to fast forward to get to the end because I know they do this at the end, what would those 3 things be?
Hydration is very important, but your electrolyte composition and knowing when to use electrolytes is also very important. The kidneys do way more than you think they do. They are like the unsung heroes of the whole body. And then, oh gosh, I don't know what my third one would be.
It's kind of hard to say for such an amazing organ. I was thinking, just know it's really, really important.
It's really cool. If you want to get me on a soapbox, just ask me a question about the kidneys, I guess. Talk about it for 3 days.
I think we are, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kidneys in a nutshell. Just remember, basic rule of thumb, the bigger the blood vessel that goes there, the more important it is. And there's a huge one going in there.
The kidneys are big.
The kidneys filter. That's what we basically talked about today. We're going to dive into some more. We're going to talk about all the kidneys do. It is truly the hero of the body.
It really is.
The brain is cool, but the kidney
is
cooler.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for being here today. Really appreciate it this morning.
Yeah.
To all our listeners out there, we really appreciate y'all listening in. Hopefully didn't over-nerd and it could happen. But if you got questions about kidney function, send them in. We'd love to answer those.
Yeah. And we'll get into, like we said, when the kidneys break, and we'll get into all the other things, the cool things that the kidneys do in upcoming episodes.
Yeah, we'll get into the production of red blood cells we call hemopoiesis next time. And we'll jump into my favorite, acid-base balance.
Henderson Hasselbalch.
Yes, you'll learn all about Henderson Hasselbalch. So,
More name dropping.
Yes. Henley and Henderson Hasselbalch.
Yeah,
they survived the renaming. Yeah.
Dang.
Well, April, thanks for recording all this. Casey, thanks for editing. Most importantly, thank you to our listeners out there from all of us here at Countryside Equine Hospital. Hope you'll have a great week, and to all the nerds out there, stay strong.
You're welcome.
Yes. Take care.